I will be hosting your installment of this evening of the political debate here on FS Online. We are counting down just a few days, less than a week, to when we're going to be all taken to the ballot stations, being given the ballot papers, and ensuring that we make decisions that we feel are right with regards to who we swear into power to govern next. The 29th of May 2024 has been confirmed as the National Voting Day for all South Africans. As we know that South Africans abroad, already they made their decision about a couple of days ago, but in a couple of days' time, it is our turn. I am joined in studio this evening by the All Citizens Party, one of the National Secretary, Ntate Mpho Ramakatsa, who is going to be sharing his insights on the political landscape, what their responsibility and objective are as the ACP, a newly found party that was only launched towards the end of 2023, in November to be precise, and the founder, Dr. Senati, is a Limpopo born, and we're also going to be finding out more from one of the key senior members as to what their objectives as a party are. Good evening, sir, and welcome to the political debate.
No, thank you, Avela, and I also want to take this opportunity to thank the management of FS Online for presenting this opportunity to All Citizens Party, ACP.
Thank you so much. Now, All Citizens Party, at times when one wants to get clearly an objective of a certain party, for many of us, it all lies in the name. And may I first start with the name of your party, why it was important that you concluded to All Citizens Party. What is the power in that name for you?
No, let me first start by saying I'm Mpho Ramakatsa, and I'm the national chairperson of ACP.
Yes.
And which is a newly born baby. This party, was established, I think, last year, September.
Yes.
No, last year, September.
Okay. Also, the official launch happened in November.
Yes,
okay.
In November. And, it was an idea of our current president, Dr. Ntate Mpho.
Okay.
And, we have uniters from all different backgrounds in terms of politics and political dynamics in South Africa. Like, for instance, some of us have been, in politics at an early age. I think I went to exile when I was 16 years of age.
Okay.
I've joined the ANC, I've joined Umkhonto Wesizwe. I came back inside the country. I fought, eventually was captured and sentenced to 15 years, and I was sent to Robben Island.
Okay.
As one of the preconditions when negotiations started was the release of former political prisoners. That's how political prisoners, ex-political prisoners, were released. Yes. As part of preconditions for negotiations. And of course, we came back out of the prison, and some of us were the first machinery of rebuilding the ANC inside the country, and we were part of the first. Some of us felt that it is no longer putting the interest of our people and the interest of the country above the interest of the leadership.
Okay.
In short, how I term this particular problem is that the ANC, which was the people's movement or party, has been taken over by criminals masquerading as politicians. Now, coming to ACP, it's All Citizens Party. We looked at the current Electoral Act and the system.
Yes.
And felt that they are not necessarily democratic in nature, and they are taking power, political power, away from the citizens away from the voters. And,
In what way?
and concentrate it in a political party. And it has been proven that individuals, powerful individuals within a political party can literally take that party over and use it for their own selfish interests.
Is this, I don't want to make much reference to the leading party because you also did reference that your political background stems from the ANC and you also were part of the MK movement.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Not MK movement. The military wing.
Okay.
Yes, of the ANC, not what is termed a political party.
No, that is a couple of months
Yes.
old. So I'm
Yes.
talking the Dane veteran,
Yes.
based,
Yes.
Mkondo Wesizwe.
Yes.
Now, is the founder of ACP also a former ANC member?
No, she has never been involved in politics.
No previous
No,
political
no,
alignment.
she has never,
Okay.
she was never involved in politics. She has just been, an entrepreneur
Yes.
focusing on a business.
Okay. Now, for the purposes of getting to the core of this debate, and like I highlighted in my opening, we are a couple of days away from taking to the ballot station, to the voting stations, and crossing our X's on the ballot papers. We doing this again barely a week, or it's going to be 2 weeks after the NHI bill was signed into law. And it's amongst other topics that I actually now have added to the landscape of, number one, the economic displacement, number two, the poverty numbers that continue to rise, and thirdly, the unemployment rate by the youth, which in South African definitions, you're looking at your 18 to 35. Now, taking into account the three pillars that I've mentioned, which are part and parcel of making a country sustain itself, where has the SACP, positioned itself in terms of contributing to working towards curbing these things? Now, let's say, for argument's sake, we spoke of that, look, obviously you would like to be part of, the decision-making factors. Say you get political seats or parliament seats. What would be your stance? Number two, the poverty landscape as well, and the economic displacements that South Africa is under currently.
Okay, the first question that I want to the first issue that I wanted to deal with, it was the name, and I said to you, the citizens.
Yes.
That's why we call the citizens. We want to ensure that we take political power back in the hands of our people by changing the electoral act and the system. Currently in South Africa, we are having a party-based electoral system.
So it is more for the party in power than for those it's meant to serve.
Yes, Now, if you have a constituency-based electoral system,
Yes.
you are giving power to the voters, to the citizens, because if they vote me into power, that constituency that has elected me into power has the right to recall me if I'm not performing.
I'm going to keep interjecting because
Yes.
part and parcel of why I feel the country is where we are, we get lost in translation. The masses don't really understand some of the language that is used to address them. If you can break it down in layman's term as to what would you mean if now, ideally, it was in favor of those that are being served, meaning that me, you, as the South African citizens.
Let's say, like for instance, Mangaung,
Yes.
which is metropolitan, becomes a constituency according to electoral, a demarcation. That, like for instance, we have with regard to the current national and provincial elections,
Yes.
we are having, what is called constituencies, provinces.
Yeah.
And in those provinces, you will then be voting for national, province, and
Yes.
province to national. Now, but the deficiency of the current system and constituency is that you vote political parties. You don't vote an individual whom must be accountable to you, not a political party. That is why even now, if a particular constituency,
Yes.
people in a specific area are not happy with a they are public representatives, they don't have the right and the power to recall that particular person because that particular person gets deployed by a political party. And if that particular person is in the right books of those that are in power within political party, that person will never go anywhere. He or she will be protected within that political party. So those are the shortcomings.
So can we say that is the current state of things? That's why
That is the current state
3
of.
decades
Yes.
things have actually worsened.
Yes, that is why you find the pressure groups, non-governmental organizations going to court, forcing the National Assembly to re-look into the act and the current system. That is why even in the past elections from '94, there were no individual allowed to contest political power as individuals. You know, you had to belong to a particular organization so that you can become a public representative. And that has always been unconstitutional because the constitution of the country clearly stipulates that every South African above the age of 18 years
Yes.
can vote and can be voted for into power. You get the point. So,
But on the contrary, though, I get the point you are making, and I get it's an extension of the freedom of of it putting into power some of the Bill of Rights that we have, and of which the pre-1994, that I can't even say that was infringed upon because it was not even built into basic human rights. Now, it's a pity that we've got time that is limited, but I want to get to a point where we get our viewers at home to understand now that there is an addition of the All Citizens Party on the addition of parties that we need to make a decision as to who are we voting into power provincially and nationally. If for someone who's maybe going to be listening for the next 30 seconds to understand, where is your role? What is your objective to say that should we have political, provincial capacity to govern and get political, not political, but rather parliament seats? What is our focus going to be? What are we going to be advocating for?
okay.
Again, going back to the 3 pillars that I mentioned.
Okay, Ausavela, as All Citizens Party and registered political party, obviously we are there to contest power. And the objective of all political parties, including us, is to take political power and govern. Now, when it comes to our priorities...
And governing means working for the public.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, what makes us different to other political parties? We are saying, it's high time that we stop paying lip service to, women empowerment and ensuring that women, leads. Hence, we decided to have a women president who has never been involved in politics, who has made her own money, above board through, business, and a woman who has never been involved in politics, the woman who is not tainted, and I think that is the first point. The second point is we are saying the economy of South Africa has to favor majority of people in the country. If you check the ownership of, for an example, the land, almost 80% is still owned by, our fellow white South Africans.
Yes.
And the ownership of the economy is still in their hands 30 years down the line.
I love the fact that you're on that
and
point.
all what we are saying is Africans in particular are not born to become slave of anybody else or survive by selling their labor power. They also have right to enter the mainstream of the economy as entrepreneurs, you know. Now, if you look at positions of other parties and their manifestos and they overemphasize on the symptoms of the problem. They will talk of poverty, they will talk of unemployment. Those are just
education system.
those are just symptoms of not the cause of the problem. The cause of the problem is create a conducive environment for business to thrive, ensure that you empower. You first of all, you deal with education system. It needs to be overhauled, you know. Our education system is structured in such a way that, you know, it produces academics.
Okay.
If you look
and not laborers, is that what you're saying?
Not people with skills who can be innovative in terms of producing like this cable. You get the point. If you, every time if you ask, our graduate, they've more inclined into academics. The mentality is that, you know, when you wear a tie, yes, and can speak English, you are better off. No, let me just make an example. You know, and
can you put vocational training institutions into that mix?
That's what we were saying. Let's give our people vocational skills, and those skills must be demanded by the economy. You know, what we are producing now is misplaced. Hence, you'll find people, graduates, sitting out there without being swallowed in the mainstream of the economy as entrepreneurs or as employees. You know, now all what we are saying is, as the party, we need to deal with the cause. The cause is, let's ensure that we overhaul education system. Okay. The main focus of our education system should be vocational skills that are demanded by the economy.
So should this be already at the secondary learning phase?
Pardon?
Should this be already at the secondary? Because remember, our learning system is broken down into 3 realms: your ECD, your primary, and your secondary learning. Before now, school leavers can leave school and go into now the higher education training facility. Are you now saying that the work must be done at that grassroots?
The primary.
Okay.
All what we have to do there, you need to begin to introduce entrepreneurship. You need to, begin to introduce all these other relevant, vocational skills that are relevant and demanded by the economy. And obviously, majority of people are excluded from the mainstream of the economy. Now, you need to create a conducive environment to ensure that after they've acquired skills, they are then assisted, and mentored into becoming successful entrepreneurs in the mainstream of the economy. And you need to support the entrance into the economy, those entrepreneurs. You need to support them, you need to mentor them, you need to, continually empower them. You also need to look at small and medium enterprises. Okay. You also need to design and look at the programs that empowers them. We have to, those little few people that have gone on their own into the mainstream of the economy as entrepreneurs, majority of them don't make it, And one other thing that I need to raise is that, the mentality that we have, as Africans, as black people, is that for us to survive, we need to go and sell our labor power. So
Yeah.
only education system can liberate us mentally and lead us to our economic freedom. Like for instance,
Pardon me, leader. I love the fact that we dwelt for so long on the education, that it's part and parcel of,
the stimulus of the economy.
Yes, the solutions basically
Yes.
we need to come out of the situation that the country at large is. Now, I would like to make use of the Free State as a typical example.
Yes.
We know nationally to have laid the education space for at least 5 odd years, and on a year-on-year growth in terms of the percentage of the pass rate of matriculants. Now, where do you think the displacement in terms of where we still are economically, and it deteriorates year on year, yet our pass rate and education system is deemed to be on its best level and shape on a year-on-year growing phase? Where do you think the displacement there is? And what, again, can you as the ACP,
yes.
excuse me, you see now I'm glutting your name, as the ACP, where do you think you can now do that whole overhaul you were talking about, and that displacement, where can you align the two?
The challenge is, what is it that we are producing? What is it that we are...
But are we having enough of that conversation to say,
what
okay,
is it that we are being praised for in terms of pass rate? What mechanism do we have as education department to follow our graduate? We cannot just be happy by getting a high pass rate. The question is, what is it that we are producing? And what we have produced, where does it end at the end of the day? So that is part of overhauling the total, education system. One other issue that one needs to also highlight is that, Africans, black people in particular in South Africa, are systematically excluded from, participating in the mainstream of the economy. I think I can even ask all of us here a simple question. How many of us are blacklisted? And when you are blacklisted, you can't own a home through assistance of financial institutions.
yes,
You can't have a house of your own dreams. You can't have, initial capital to start business and be supported by institutions, financial institutions. When you get to them,
is this not due to the continued financial burden on the working class, due to carrying this wide mass that is unable to participate economically? And when I say participate economically, have a job and work. And there's another
also become an entrepreneur. Can
you put entrepreneurship aside? Because I can say it's part and parcel of the problems that we have to have people being active economically due to the number of tenders that have been now issued since the whole tender system has been a thing. But then I guess it's a topic for another point.
Yes.
Now, there's also a question of corruption that I guess we're not going to have time to touch on. But what role do you think that plays into the displacement that we have economically, that continues to have displacement in, job security, having the right skills, occupying job spaces?
As I've alluded to earlier on, that a education system, the professionalism and the willingness of government, to take full responsibility and account. If you look at education system, as I said, needs to be overhauled, and there must be, priorities set,
Yeah.
in terms of empowering Africans in terms of vocational skills.
Yes.
And the system that follow through, our people or students at all levels, and directing them to where their skills are needed, within the mainstream of the economy. Now, you are taken through the system. After that system, you are just left. We are just happy that you graduated, we got a particular percentage.
So there's follow-through mentorship
Yes,
and guidance.
yeah, that's
that.
also another problem that we have. And, when it comes to the question of, tenders and corruption, also play a major role, because they also play a major role, because if you are linked with somebody through tender, all what we have produced as a society up to this particular point is entrepreneurship.
So let's say
We
for
have never
argument's sake,
focused on seriously on entrepreneurship development. And as I've said, poverty and unemployment,
Yes.
they are a cause of, stagnant economy, unprofessionalism, non-accountability, and corruption. So that's why I was also saying, that's why, I'll also say, if you look at our public service, it's ballooned. You look at the cabinet, it's ballooned.
So meaning it is the unnecessary positions that the state continues financing
with the resources that are supposed to go into, service delivery, into key issues, into a education system. Now, what I just wanted to overemphasize the question of blacklisting.
Yes.
Majority of all Africans, black people in particular in this country, are blacklisted.
Majority.
The majority of them. And they can't even get access.
And these are the ones who hold the mass of the population.
Sure. And they can't, you are denying them access to means and resources that can enable them to become actively involved in the mainstream of the economy. Now, that on its own contributes to unemployment, contributes to poverty. But if we have, men and women
Yes.
of honor and integrity that lead this country, they will ensure that we are having a thriving economy, stable, thriving economy, and ensuring that we force entry of majority of people into the mainstream of the economy, supported for them to get employment and also to become entrepreneurship.
I'm actually being signaled by my production team that we're almost running out of time. But I want, just in closing, with regards to the ACP's
yes.
All Citizens Party.
Yes.
Because now someone is going to go Google ACP and find something else. All Citizens Party's objective and mandate. What is it? In a minute.
Economy. We need to ensure that we have sustainable, growing economy that gives space and access to everyone, more especially previously disadvantaged people.
Okay.
They would enter the mainstream of economy as entrepreneurs and as employees, which will then deal away with unemployment and poverty. By so doing, you hit poverty and unemployment where, it has most. Now, the issue of also health.
Yes.
Health, if you look at our public healthcare,
systems, yes.
it deteriorates on daily basis. Part of, or the main problem is management, is professionalism, availability of resources.
So basically
Now,
what you say,
now what the government,
upskilling is needed.
what the government, you know, is trying to introduce now, in terms of the NHI, it's not the solution, because now you find NHI fighting with the private healthcare. All what we have to do, and you want to come and control and regulate private healthcare, you know, out of the system. You don't necessarily have to regulate and come with laws that would force it out. Just as ACP was saying, let's give our people good quality health care. Let's ensure that we upgrade our hospitals, that there's infrastructure there. You know, that.
So the NHI should have been a thing that's going to come maybe at a later stage, but now focus.
For
on
now, the
enhancing
focus now had to be, how do we correct and improve
the current
current.
public healthcare system.
Now, the decision should be of an individual. Whether I go to private, even whilst I can still access health care, you know, free of charge, provided to me, you know, by my own government. Now,
you know what, leader? I think we're going to have to close it right there. But again, quickly, where do we find you? Where do our viewers find you? And with regards to more info on the ACP?
You know, let me, you know, first, you know, start by saying, come the 29th, our people have to go out there, vote correctly, and do things differently. You know, if you want change in life, you can't continue or repeat doing one and the same thing, you know, and expect different results. If you continue doing things in the same way, you will still receive and get the same results. Now, we are saying, you know, 30 years down the line, South Africa is at the crossroad, and the only way to ensure that we change lives, we bring stability, job creation, healthcare system, you know, education, is through, you know, a mandating men and women of honor who are patriotic to lead this country. Until such time, we then manage to come with a referendum and change electoral law and electoral system. And you can find us, you know, we have structures in all provinces.
Okay.
We have structures in VDs, and we also have, you know, social media platforms.
Okay.
ACP.org, you go into that, you get information of the organization, but we have members and uniters all out there in different VDs. We have structures in different regions, in different provinces. You just have to contact our members for you to join the organization or to participate in the political dynamics of this country.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. It was an absolute honor to have you and get your insights with regards to how do we move from the current displacements, which you know, stem from the poor education system that you mentioned and the economic displacements. To the viewers at home, like I did mention earlier, in a couple of days' time, we are going to be taken to our different voting stations. And if you had decided that you are not going to be voting, I don't know, really, I would just encourage you to take on the little bit of power that you have with regards to contributing to the outscale in the political landscape of the country and improving that with just casting your vote. It is the political debate, and we will be back at 6 p.m. again, continuing the political debate with another political leader and from another political party that will be contributing in the 2024 elections. My name is Asavela Mbata, and make sure that you